We are back in the house tonight. Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Haven't been on here for a little bit. You know me, I take breaks. Got to get those breaks in, folks. When you're working cases like this, you got to take a break, you know, especially if you're on a fact-finding type of mission. Breaks are good. Breaks are good. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's live. Good to see everybody. Yeah, that's right. I don't play around with my breaks. No one should play around with their breaks. It's like if you do, you never know when you're going to stop and you don't know what you're going to hit. Oh, my goodness. What a week. Whoa, my goodness. There is just so much going on with this case. It's incredible. And I had a special live hooked up for tonight, but I got some feedback. Thank you for the feedback and to let me know what was going on. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, the temperatures are rising in this case. And so are a lot of people's emotion. And so we're going to be delicate like we always are in handling the information that we're going to cover here tonight. I had some questions I'm going to throw at the chat tonight in reference to where this case is right now, because it is a phenomenal case indeed. And it's good to see that a lot of you are still focused on, you know, finding out what happened to Sebastian Rogers, 15-year-old autistic boy who went missing on February 26th and is nowhere to be found. He seemed to have disappeared mysteriously without a trace. And people want to know why. Why did that happen? How come that happened? How in the heck did that happen? All of a sudden, and we ask ourselves that question for any child that goes missing. What for? How come? And the main question, why? Why? And then you look at what's put out here, whether it be on social media, on mainstream media, and it's just little tidbits as to what happened. And it's not enough. It's not enough. There has to be more to the story than what's being told. And guess what, folks? Breaking news. Breaking news. It is. There's more to this story than what's being told. Everybody that's been following this case, like the Summer Wells case, like the Kenneka Jenkins case, like the West Boys case, like any case out here, Madeline Soto's case, there's more to the story than what we have been told. And little by little, over the last 6 months, little tidbits have been coming out. A lot of little tidbits, like shattered glass. And you don't know which one is going to cut you. Trying to pick it up with your fingers. You get a broom and start sweeping up all the little pieces of wherever they may fall, only to find out that when you think you got them all, you catch one. And it's always when you're barefoot and you think it's safe. And it's like somewhat of like what happened with Kenneka Jenkins. That was the very first story that I covered on my channel. That's the story that really gave me my channel. But before I get into the work that I got to share with you tonight, let me say hello to some people. You know how I do me. You know how I do me. Over here, Voices Behind the Wall is in the building. Miss Cher is in the building. Welcome, welcome. Much love to you and Mark. We got Nicole is in the building. I'll be answering that question during the live, Miss Nicole. She come in with questions. Are they back there again? Oh my goodness. Oh, SL, I got your email. If that's you who sent me the email, interesting. Thank you for sending me that. Thank you. Absolutely. My renegade partner, Miss Justice, is in the building, holding it down in blue, is in the building. Yes, you sent, okay, very good. Thank you, Miss SL is in the building. Marty is in the building. Molly 13 is in the building. Uh-oh. Jeannie from the block is in the building. Much love to you. Jeannie's been sending me some love. We've been bumping into each other a couple of times. Much love to you, Miss Jeannie, for being here. We got Miss Holly in the building. Holly Irish is in the building. Wow. Amy Conway is in the building. Okay. All right. Miss Curly is in the building. Lock Diva. Oh, the names are just getting so rich. So rich. Sunset Gazing is in the building. Thank you for being here. Robin B is in the building. All right. Good to see you, Robin. That Charlene Green is in the building. Uh-oh. Charlene is in the building. Karen Alberini is in the building. Happy to hear some logic and common sense. That's why I'm here. Well, thank you. Thank you for thinking about me like that. That's what we do here. Tamika Ward is in the building. Miss Tamika, how are you? Hopefully you and your family are doing good. Hope Floats is in the building. I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who have created little avatars that are just, oh my goodness. I said, my goodness, I just show you my picture. I'm not all that creative when it comes to avatar making. That's for sure. Flamingo Lisa is in the building. Welcome. Amy Conway is in the building. Welcome. Opal is in the building. Hello, Miss Opal. That's my birthstone, Opal, which is next month. Hint, hint. John Q's got a birthday coming in next month. Purple Goddess 84, welcome. Much love to you for being here. And if this is your first time visiting with me, covering the stories that I cover on my channel, please decide to subscribe. I'm trying to hit a new milestone called 12,000. A lot of you have helped me during the course of this case to go over 10,000. And then all of a sudden, 11,000. And I am just kissing the doorway to 12,000. So to show your love to me, that's one way you can definitely say, I'm glad John Q's on the case. There's some sense going on somewhere on YouTube. I think I found a place, a doorway that makes sense. Thank you for being here. And definitely hit the like button to show your attendance. That does help. You know the algorithm. YouTube is always acting funny. Geo-Yoka is in the building. I hope I said that right. 2020? Geo like Leo, but with a J, is in the building. Oh my goodness. Miss Marcia is in the building. I'm glad you're back. Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm here too. I'm glad I'm here too. GDFD, no, GDFGD is in the building. I'll just call you G. How's that? Ginger Girl is in the building. I'm waiting for the FBI bump. Yep. Definitely. A lot of going on in that building. Yogi is in the building. Well, hello, Miss Yogi. Shamina Wright is in the building. Much love to you, Shamina. She's helped me on a number of cases when it comes to getting documents, especially from the area concerning the legal aspects of a case. Ms. Shamina Wright always busts through the door and comes through with what I'm looking for always. Much love to you, Miss Shamina. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. Good to see the people. Reggie is in the building, 1965. Yay, alive. Yeah, because I don't do it every day. I can't do it every day. I cannot do it every day. If I'm doing it every day, it means I'm not doing something else every day. You know what I mean? And I got things to do every day. But it always gives me time, though, to check my notes, reminisce the story, go over some thoughts, and then go over my questions. And that's what helps me to build my next live. Always. Skinny is in the house. All right. Well, thank you. Yes, Sabrina Marshall is in the house. Welcome. Beverly Sanders is in the house from Louisiana. Welcome. My goodness, Sally Carson is in the house. Welcome. Ernestine Smith is in the house. Hello, Miss Ernestine. Good to see you. Miss Fables is in the house. Well, not Miss. No. A Fables is in the house. Forgive me for calling you Miss. I was looking too fast. Welcome. Glad you can join us. I'm doing good. When I seen the picture of Bernie Mac, I said, no, John, that's not a miss. Don't get it wrong. Don't mess it up. Welcome. Mona Bard is in the building. Texas Lady is in the building. My birthday's on the 25th of October. Uh-oh. Mine is on the 22nd, Miss Texas Lady. So you're a Scorpio and I'm a Libra. And so now that we fixed that, thank you for being here. Saucy is in the building. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Who else we got here? Dixie in Tennessee Mountains is in the building. Pauline is in the building. Dark Queen is in the building. Wow. Where y'all coming from? Rosebud is in the building. Welcome. Miss Parker's in the building? Yep, Miss Parker. Much love to you. Much love to you and Brother Shankrock. I was over his house a couple of days. He's covering the politics and some other stories, but the politics, crazy. Every day, crazy. Our world is changing. But much love to you for dropping by. Good to see you. Even Miss Justice remembers you. Dwan Johnson is in the building. And I'm almost done, folks. I finally got down to the bottom. Hey, Raj is in the building. And much love and respect to you, Miss Parker. All right. Why did John Q decide to go live tonight? Well, like I said, when you cover these kind of cases, it always reminds you of the cases you've covered And as I started out with on tonight's live, the very first case that I covered was the Kenneka Jenkins case. Teenager, 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins, who went missing on September 8th into the morning of the 9th at a birthday party at a hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. And she went with 3 other friends who went with her, accompanied her to this birthday party being held at this hotel. A lot of people, well over 30, 35 people, all jacked up into a double bed hotel room, drinking, smoking, young people partying. And I scratched my head and I said, wait a minute, they allow that kind of party to be in a hotel with all those people? I mean, there were a lot of red flags in this particular case. Soon after she got there, which was a little after 12 a.m., she went missing. She went missing. And the hotel cameras caught her walking the hallways by herself, inebriated, until she ended up way in the back of the hotel, face down in the hotel kitchen freezer. Camera footage shows that she walked past the freezer door, but everybody assumed, the media that is, the hotel, and the Rosemont police came up with the assumption that she walked into the freezer, closed the door behind her, and never came out. That story still stinks today, even though it's going on, my goodness, 7 years. It has gone 7 years, just past 7 years, the 9th of this month. And so this story stays with me every time I cover a case. This was a major story, and there are some people online today still talking about this case with a different perspective, even though it's 7 years later. And obviously, she didn't come home from that party. There was a civil trial that the family was involved in, and that case is now closed. Been closed for quite some time now. And of course, there were damages that were received by the family in reference to Kenneka not coming home from that birthday party. There's another major case that I covered on this channel. And I said, what could I possibly contribute to this particular case? Everyone was asking me, John, are you going to cover summer? John, are you going to cover summer? John, are you going to cover summer? I said, well, what is this case about? Oh, missing person, missing child out in Rogersville, Tennessee. I picked up on the story and found it quite odd that a 5-year-old Summer Wells out of Rogersville, Tennessee, allegedly and supposedly went home with one of the parents, the mother and the grandmother, on a beautiful sunny afternoon out in Tennessee at 110 Ben Hill Road, and went missing. Home. Now, this child was home. I said, oh, I don't like the way that sounds. Let me look into it and start to see what I see. Because a lot of people that were online covering this case definitely didn't see that the story was right. What was told by the parents was right. She's on the property, she's in the house, and she goes missing. Not to be seen ever since. And what made this case extraordinary was the fact that people got together, law enforcement got together to look for this child. They pulled in resources that blew my mind, almost equal to Gabby Petito, F.B.I, TBI, EquiSearch, Churchill Rescue. Everybody boots on the ground, covering terrain I could only imagine, and going places definitely I can imagine. And still, she's missing from inside the house. And a lot of content creators covered this story. And I still have Summer's case on top of my desk. Now, even though there have been no new developments in this case, well over 3 years now that she went missing, it'll remain on my desk until new developments come from it. Just like the Daniel Robinson case, that's still on my desk, and he's been missing also for 3 years. 25-year-old that went missing out in Buckeye, Arizona. But this one took the cake for me. What happened this summer, we don't know. How she went missing, we don't know. What we do know is that she went missing from inside the house. From inside of the house. The mother said on the phone call that she made, that she went for a walk, came back, she was gone. Why didn't you take Summer with you for the walk? What was the solo walk about? Well, that's what we were told. That's what was told. And little by little, as you build the story, as the narrative is told, a lot of things just don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. None of it does. And then we come to Sebastian Rogers. Case we're going to talk about here tonight. Is a 15-year-old with autism, supposedly went out that Sunday with one of the parents, biological parents, had a great day, had a great time. They go home. We don't know exactly what the activities are, but they go home. 9 o'clock, he's told to go to bed. 6 a.m., the mom gets up to look for, to wake him up to go to school. It's Monday morning, and he's not in his bed. He's not in the house. He's nowhere to be found. I said, no, not another one. From inside the house? From inside the house? Wait a minute. And it reminded me of Summer. Summer reminded me of the West Boys, who also went missing from inside the house. Even though we were told they were in the yard or in the back porch playing close to the back door of the house, they were on their property. And they went missing, 2 of them, a 3 and a 4-year-old. Rambunctious is what we were told about that case. And this is how I started getting into Sebastian's case. And that's the reason why at the very beginning of my very first live, I gave you case comparisons of the family members that told this story. And you've been now on my channel covering this case, covering these lives with me. And you pretty much hear the same thing, the same, is that all of it? It's got to be more to this story. There is more to this story. We're 6 months into it now. And tonight, I'm just going to run through a couple of things. And I want to get to my focal point. You know me, I like to build. Never like to come in and come in from a different direction. I always like to build, bring everybody up to speed, because perspectives are different, viewpoints are different regarding any case. Everybody don't see the same color red that everybody else should see, or green, or blue, or black, or white. You kind of figure, scratch your head, wait a minute, how could you not see the same color I do? Well, hence perspective. All depends on how you look at it. It all depends on how you look at it, no matter what it is. Okay, so that makes sense. We're 6 months now. We passed the 6-month window. And Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is still missing. This case has escalated to a different position. Sebastian is missing, yes. However, the information surrounding his disappearance is beginning to change. Type a 1 in the room if you're on that same page too. Yes, this case is beginning to change in front of our face. If you agree, type a 1. If you do not agree, type a 2. Let's see who's in attendance. All right, Sally says 1. We got, oh my goodness. I want the chat to see. We're going to keep everybody on the same page. I want the chat to see what other people see. If you see that this case has changed from the direction in which it came from, or if not, just type a 2 and say, no, nothing has changed. Look at that. Incredible. Why? Why now has this case taken a different appearance? We're 6 months in. He's still missing. But now the information on the table as of tonight has changed. And here's the sad part. And this is what I don't like to see. The sad part about this case is that even though we all have different perspectives, some of them can get way out of hand. And a lot of other stuff that doesn't belong on the table creeps in and tries to make itself a part of something it's not. And that's the stuff I don't even bring to the table. That's just me. That's why people can come to my channel and we can review a case. That's all we're doing is a case review. I'm not pointing a finger at nobody. Not here to lay blame on anyone or critique another creator for, and what for? It has nothing to do with the case. The facts have everything to do with the case. The other stuff has something to do with something else. And so I keep the facts before you, and then you can fact check me. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And so we hear from this standpoint, from this case escalating, from where it began. Let's take a look at something. Bear with me, because we're going to get right into the meat of this. Bear with me. Let's take a look at something here. Together, let's take a look at how this thing started, and it's a quick clip, just to remind folks as to how this story started.
A missing teen in Sumner County described to us exclusively how they feel on day 8 of their son's disappearance. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Marius Payton.
And I'm Lauren Lowry. Sebastian Rogers is 15. He was last seen by his parents on February 25th in Hendersonville. Sebastian has autism, and he's gone without his medication this whole time. And since then, authorities have searched by air, by foot, and on horseback.
Helicopters, drones, and dive teams have also been brought in to try to find him. Today, his parents spoke exclusively to our Holly Thompson.
She's live tonight in Sumner County. Holly, I imagine it was quite an emotional interview.
Certainly was. It is hard for any of us to imagine the emotions that this family is going through right now. But we know one thing is certain. They remain positive. They are holding on to hope that their son Sebastian will return home safely.
Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished. No sign of him on any video throughout the community. Thousands of miles logged by law enforcement, canines, helicopters, even dive teams, and no sign of him. Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts.
Are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully and cooperatively with all agencies across the board. We have anything that they've wanted, we have provided.
What do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
That we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Now, Katie did tell me that even though Sebastian does have autism, he is a smart teenager. He is highly functional. They say if you see him, say his name, say Sebastian, and he'll respond. He'll at least acknowledge you. And I can tell you, this is my home. This is my community. And the people here are strong. They say they will continue to search. They will continue to hope and continue to pray for Sebastian's safe return. And by the way, you can watch my full exclusive interview with Sebastian's parents on our WSMV4 app. Live here in Hendersonville, Holly Thompson, WSMV4. Back to
Okay. And so this was the beginning For me, it was. This was the beginning of looking into this case. Now, that wasn't me telling you about the story. That was from the news media, the reporter covering the story. What you saw, what you heard is facts. Plain and simple. Is it all there? Well, I ask you that. Is all of the story there? No. No, it's not. The reason I can say that is because Sebastian is still missing. The reason why he went missing is on the table. And people want to know exactly what happened. Now, there's some parts of the interview I agree with. Yeah, people shouldn't muddle around with a case that they are not personal and privy to, and try to distort whatever facts that come out from this case. And I agree with that. I agree. Step back, chill out, let law enforcement do their job. Everything else is outside conversation. And that's how it should be. And anyone can respect that. I certainly do. I certainly do. And I know that a lot of folks that have been looking at this case from every different angle, from all over YouTube, our community, true crime community, can appreciate that same respect, putting yourself in their shoes, walking a mile in their shoes, and then looking at it from their perspective versus anything else that we could conjure up with. And we could speculate and we can go in this direction, that direction. No, it takes away from the facts. So we don't do it here. I've been privileged to collaborate with a number of different content creators covering this case. And there's certain things that we agree on. We're more on the same page than we are off the page, if you will. At least that's what I have found to be true. And I'm glad I'm in good company regarding that. But in covering that, I wanted you to see where the case developed from. But now it's changed into something else. And I want to share that with you here. Now, I've shared this same piece of information, and then we're going to get into our discussion here tonight. I shared with you the same piece of information on my last live, but it's critical because it made me think, as maybe perhaps most of you have thought of something differently now. Differently now. Let's take a look.
Right here, it says Sebastian's Army, and members of Sebastian's Army back here behind me are outside the sheriff's office today, reminding everyone that it was 6 months ago that Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home in Hendersonville.
Today is the 6-month anniversary of him going missing, and it's very important to keep Sebastian's name out in the public so he's not forgotten. And we were very pleased to hear about the $50,000 reward. That's going to be very helpful.
Yes, now the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to the missing 15-year-old with autism.
I hope that's the catalyst to make something move.
Ken Widener with Sumner County EMA heads up the continuing search effort for Sebastian. To date, they found no trace of the teen. Yes, it's possible Sebastian wandered off on his own, but the FBI reward money concedes the very real possibility of foul play.
If somebody were to have done something and they told somebody something, it may be what it takes for that person to to get that off their chest and make the right decision.
And now the TBI references the reward for information leading to Sebastian or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. Now, remember, investigators have never named any suspects.
Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Still, after 6 months with no good leads, everyone wonders how a child alone could vanish without a trace. So the hope is someone out there knows something and calls in the key tip to 1-800-TBI-FIND and help solve the mystery of what happened to Sebastian Rogers. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
And I shared this with you, this news clip again, because you can actually see that this case is now escalated to a different position. Facts on the table. FBI is involved in this case. I said, wait a minute. They got money on the table now. 6 months later, there's something federal going on about this case. There's something federal going on about this case. And you feel it too. Because to put that kind of reward money on the table from the FBI after 6 months tells us this has escalated and is escalating to a different position. It's not so much a missing person. It sort of tells you. Sumner County Sheriff's Department was the first responding crew on this case. They were called first, not 911. And there are a couple of news clips out there that say that there was a 911 call placed, and that wasn't true. Because we heard it from the parents' mouth, the stepdad and the biological mother's mouth, who they call first. They call the sheriff's department. Okay, TBI gets involved into this case, just like they did with Summer Wells. Okay, good. Hadn't heard anything about EquiSearch being contacted to come in. Hell, they know Tennessee like the back of their hand. No information that I know of regarding EquiSearch being contacted to find Sebastian. Now, if there is, please email it to me so I can incorporate that and put it on the table. Because that's important. Why weren't they contacted? Of all agencies, and get in and get it fresh, boots on the ground fresh, when you have so many different agencies working together, collaborating with each other. More boots on the ground in the shortest period of time, you'll get better results. But it didn't happen in this case. I'm not pointing a finger at EquiSearch for any reason, and I'm not pointing my finger at anyone at Sumner County Sheriff's Office for maybe not contacting them. Maybe they were contacted and they were on a different assignment. Who knows? But what we do know is that there's no presence of EquiSearch in this case. Not like Summer's case, because EquiSearch showed up twice in Summer Wells's case. And then we're told to stand down. They started pulling back from those search efforts because they covered so much terrain looking for summer. And it seems likewise that resources were utilized in this case to where they covered a lot of terrain. But in a very short time, 2-3 weeks into it, they began to scale back. And I said, why are they scaling back? Wait a minute. Because it'd be a great time to get EquiSearch or another big search agency involved in this to put more boots on the ground. And it didn't make sense to me. So wait a minute, they're scaling back. They're pulling resources back because maybe they've gone over the story a number of times to begin to realize that they didn't have all the information. That came to mind. That came to my mind. And so where do you go? You start back at the house again. You go back over the interviews again. You go back over who hadn't been interviewed yet. You go over different locations you have searched versus those locations that hasn't been searched. And you begin to dwindle out where the facts, what the facts are telling you. And guess what, folks? We're now 6 months into this case, and now the FBI has opened the door. And they believe Sebastian is out there somewhere. We all do. However, they also believe anyone with information about the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, please contact us. And or any information thereof regarding Sebastian's whereabouts, who might have him. There's a little bit of an addition to that. And I said, uh-oh. Hence the reason why they had to concede that there perhaps is foul play that's involved in this case. And I said, okay, now they put foul play on the table with $50,000 reward. Okay, what are they looking at? What are they looking at now? What does it tell you they're looking at right now? Just put a couple of thoughts that come to mind. In your mind, what do you think the FBI is looking at right now? I'm going to highlight some of your comments here. I love you, John. Okay. Charles Mayer says, I love you, John. Okay, I got you. All right, let's see. EquiSearch maintained a low profile while they searched the areas there. Texas lady, okay. See? And if that is a fact that's on the table, if there's anything written about it, if there's anything that you can send me via email, Miss Justice will drop my email in the chat, as she always does, because I'd like to know if they were there. That's great. That's great. And maybe that's a part of what's missing on the table. And maybe also that's a part of why the FBI came up with the reward to kind of change the dynamics of where this case was going. But that's good to know. I've seen EquiSearch discuss this on duty, Ron. They searched, there's another comment regarding EquiSearch. Okay, thank you, Marcia. See? And I'm still gathering the facts. We are still gathering the facts. Fact 4, someone knows something. Rosebud, fact 4, someone knows something. FBI may have a theory. Throw some cash at it. That's what we see that's on the table right now. That's what we see. All right. Nick Barris update back in March or April. EquiSearch was here searching. That's number 3. Okay, good. See? And I'm glad that I put that out there because, like I said, we're just collecting. I hadn't come across anything regarding EquiSearch. I said it would have been great if they were, but now with 3 people that have pinpointed certain areas and where they collected information, that's 3 people that says EquiSearch was in the background doing something. So that's good. Thank you, Marcia. And thank you, I can't say the other one, but crazy CRZYBTCH number 6. How's that? Okay, Texas lady 1025, crossing state lines, internet crimes. Okay, and that would be, to me, one good reason why they are or have changed the dynamics of this case. Crossing state lines is federal. That automatically came to mind because of this particular item that we shared with you. That's posted as a thumbnail. Right there. Right there. It was one of the very first moves that we had seen happen outside of that foot pond being searched for Sebastian. These folks are looking in a landfill. A landfill. And they got out there pretty quick. A landfill in Kentucky. Yeah, that's not where Sebastian went missing, in Kentucky. What are they doing way out there? Also is a trigger for the FBI to have stepped in. So very good. Because I'm saying, okay, so now they've got to put their foul play, their possible foul play on the table as well. Would only make sense for them to do so. You're including it in a news story. Okay, so what foul play are we talking about if there is any foul play? What kind of foul play are we talking about? What kind of foul play? Tawny Lee is in the building. Are we talking about? Thank you, Ms. Justice, for dropping my email. There's an interview with EquiSearch, and I believe Duty Ron. Yes, Duty Ron is a very reliable source, former New York City police detective. New York in the building. Yeah, Duty Ron is a good source. And anytime he brings anything to the table, he goes to the source and has it on his channel. So it's good to know and good to hear that EquiSearch was a part of the search that was done. Rosebud, FBI may have gotten something from possible digital information. Okay. That's another thought. They're still combing and scoping the digital communication equipment. You know, the switch, the phones, any phones that were used, cameras that were in the area. And we covered that last piece regarding surveillance cameras in my last live. You know, the lights at night that showed up on a neighbor's video cam, floating lights a little after 3 a.m. on a camera that had possibly a frozen timestamp and date on it. Maybe they've taken a look at that, where the Sumner County Sheriff's Department didn't come to the conclusion that it looked anything suspicious to include in the case. Perhaps the FBI took a look at it and then added it to the Kentucky landfill. And then they're adding other pieces and components of perhaps evidence collected already to even begin to think about conceding to foul play. That makes sense. That makes sense. GPS data, coordinates do take time. They do take time. I'm not John, but I definitely think it's related. How could it be such a coincidence? Yeah. There's a lot going on in the case that wasn't considered early in the case. It was just considered from what they were told. Hey, we don't know why he walked out that front door. Oh, okay. Police would conclude he must be on foot. They were also told he had no shoes on. So he must be on foot. We should be able to find him right away. If he's hiding somewhere. Six months later, there's something else has changed that now. 6 months later, following the trash, the hen house says. Yeah, they're following trash? Yeah. And my thoughts exactly, Holly. What did they find? If they found anything? Is what we're all waiting to hear. What did they find? What did they find? Cold Pepsi in the building. Much love to you, Cold Pepsi. Sally says the Proudfoot's trash service used Kentucky landfill. That's a fact. Then you see why they went. Right there tells you they even considered maybe we should check the landfill because there's something about the story that's not adding up. From what we've gathered, let's just do our due diligence. And guess where they went? They went to the landfill. They went to the landfill. That's where the trash from the construction site went. And let's see. I have that, which I know I do. Here. Not too far away, about a half a mile away, maybe even less than that. This big landmass here, open landmass, is a construction site. It's a residential development going up, not far from the house, that they also searched. This is where the retention pond is, along with construction. Perhaps he went over here. For some strange reason, we were led to believe that there were signs of evidence or the scent of evidence of Sebastian being here. Nothing was concretely confirmed that he was ever there. But at least they checked. And if the trash that went from here went to Kentucky as well, well, hence the reason why they went to Kentucky to search. And thank God they did. So, yeah, that leads them to believe that there might be something else going on here. Perhaps. Perhaps. This case has driven me bonkers. I get so upset that they haven't found Sebastian. There has to be evidence. I agree, Marcia. I totally agree. You're looking at it every day, hoping and waiting and praying that something else has developed in this case. And the only thing that you hear is what's going on YouTube and social media. We wish law enforcement would be like we are on social media, coming out every day with an update. We're still looking at this. We're still something. These guys go dead silent and leave us in a void. And we're not detectives or anything. We're not law enforcement. We're not forensic experts. We're not any of those people, professional people, to even come close to what these professionals have to do in order to collect evidence, to have the right evidence to come close to a conclusion as to what happened. All we can do is just share what has been shared and keep it in the proper place, keep it in perspective. Not make too much noise around it, other than bring awareness to the case without distorting the facts. But yeah, every day, I don't do it. I don't do it because that's not the way I handle cases. Even the FBI and the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department, they don't handle the cases that way. They have to take time to look at things, to review things, to read things, to do research on things. What they did, what they didn't do yet, is a lot going on. So yeah, for them to take a silent period, it's inevitable. It only makes sense if you're looking for a missing 15-year-old. Absolutely. Leslie says, John Q, I find it odd that they had a false hit at the retention pond. And then they did the search at the Kentucky landfill. They had a hit, but nothing was said about it after that. Wonder what the hit was about. What was the hit about? But never said anything about it. Hence, is that another piece of information that would begin to shift this case into perhaps where it's at today, escalated to possibly conceding to foul play? Could there have been something collected there? Good point, Leslie. Good point. Crystal says, I think cops treated it as a runaway instead of possible kidnapping or the big M, in her opinion. I think they lost out on a lot of evidence because they took the mom's word on he ran away. Or he walked out that door. She didn't know why he walked out that door. That's from her mouth. It's not from mine. We saw it here tonight. She didn't know why he walked out that door. Yet the evidence that's on the table states that there is no evidence of that happening. Even if you don't have evidence of something happening, you still have evidence that it didn't happen. It couldn't have possibly have happened, is our fact find, so to speak, which is evidence. Good point. And this case is crazy. And it's unfortunate that it is, especially on social media. It is. And I can't do it every day. I can't. Like I said, there are some reliable areas that I do look. And then the rest I know is just conversation. To a degree, it's conversation. Because we're all asking ourselves, where's Sebastian? Why did this happen? This is pretty much the point of the conversation being continued. And new people are starting to show up into this conversation. Dog the Bounty Hunter, great to have him. He's got the background to go out and hunt. Bounty hunt. I understand his reasons for it, to collaborate and to join in and to do his fact finding. That's great. But then again, you hear some of the noise out there concerning Dog the Bounty Hunter, getting into it with other creators. Oh, bro, see, that takes away from the case. And that's the stuff I'm not into. Because it doesn't tell us what happened to Sebastian. It doesn't tell us where Sebastian is. It just tells us more nonsense is going on. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Georgia Patriot woman, I believe they found something in the backyard at as much time, and the police stayed in the backyard. Wonder what that could have possibly been. What could that have possibly been? Is he alive, John Q? You know, that's the question. That's one of the questions on the table too. Is he alive? That's the right question to ask, Miss Queen. And if there is evidence of him alive, point one, good. Point two, where is he at? If he is. Who's got him? And for what? See, the other questions start to flow in line. New train of thought opens a new door. Holly, I guess my work with autistic children had ruined me, but no shoes in the cold? Yeah. Or leaving with strangers in a strange car? No way. I said that too. It's February, the middle of winter. Why would he go outside with no shoes? Or even think about leaving with no shoes? Not unless you're in the heat of passion. You're totally upset with something. You just want to just get up and go. I'm not taking anything with me. I'm just leaving. That had to be one hell of a moment for a heat of passion to have taken someone out of the house in that way. But no, not a 15-year-old. That's just me. I'm just connecting myself with it in that way. No, Put on your shoes, put on your coat, grab your phone, and I'm going over to Dad's house. That's what a kid would think, especially under the living situations and circumstances that Sebastian was living under. I'm going to Dad's house. Forget this, if he was upset. But that didn't happen. The dad was contacted, a little after 7 that morning. Don't get mad, don't get upset, but your son is missing. I think you should get over to the house. Oh, man. I bet you he flew. Just too much. But in my opinion, CP has intentionally made it crazy to take the focus off him and Katie. And I'm with you. I'm with you. That could possibly be true. And to get out here and just stir up social media and do interviews on social media, and well, what are you doing that for? To try to convince us to stop pointing fingers at you, maybe? That only stirred it up to me. Made it even more suspicious. But to do interviews, let's say with the news reporter, the one that we just got finished reviewing, Nancy Grace. That was a good interview. With other professionals in the industry on panel. Cajun Rescue, Search and Rescue was a part of that interview. And that's where you're going to find facts. And that's just me, but that's where I looked. That's just me. And yes, when a narrative is created, that's where we have to be careful. Just like with Don and Candace Wells, they controlled the narrative, especially Candace, because everything was on her. Everything was on her. Everything came from her, then went to Don. And then he picked up the ball and started running with it, with the interviews on the news, once again, on social media. Before we knew it, in a short period of time, story got just so messy on social media. Extremely messy. Let me just do this for a second. Just thinking about it right now. Y'all bear with me. You know how I start to take a look at certain things. I like to share them. Let's share my screen. Type of one if y'all can see that. It just brought me back to the story. Said, here's a 5-year-old who went missing in broad daylight from this place over here, 110 Ben Hill Road. Broad daylight from inside the house. Was Sebastian inside the house? Yeah, okay. 2 comparisons, 2 matching facts. In the house. The infamous steps leading to the bedroom, or what appeared to be sleeping area downstairs. Incredible as it may seem, and thanks to content creator Chris Madonna, who went and performed a brilliant interview with Candace Wells to have her walk him through her day the day Summer went missing. So the captures here are just incredible because he did an excellent job. And you had TBI, and you had the search and rescue, and you had EquiSearch, and you had everybody out here. The 11.2 acres that this home sat on, the property lines of 11.2 is a lot to cover. And they did it around 7 times. Up and down, in and out, literally flip the place looking for little Summer. The story we were told by Don regarding all of the dogs all over the property. And I said, okay, this is one of those red flags. If Summer was taken off that property by a stranger, you wouldn't get sleeping dogs. He told us they weren't there that day. I said, well, in my head, well, Don, how would you know that if you were at work? How would you know the dogs took the day off? You know, little twists and turns of narrative control began creeping into the Summer Wells case. And this is where you have to be careful. And then on social media, we were able to see a different Don and Candace, especially Don. And we saw the drinking, we saw the cursing, we saw the yelling, we saw the division. We saw all that start to show, courtesy of Don and Candace. And it started messing with the story. They started learning about their character live, like the Truman Show. I said, this is a movie. This is a freaking movie. They've taken live cases of children that have gone missing and they're creating a movie of it on social media. Why are they doing that? Like it's really going to help, but that's what they did. Facts. That's what they did. And still today, she's missing. Still today. Still today. And this is the man who carried the story. Summer's 3 other brothers, well, we know what happened to them. They were taken from the house by CPS. What's going on through his mind today, you may ask? One moment, it's a beautiful summer day, June 15th, 2021. The next minute, chaos. Over 3 years now. What are your thoughts, Don? What are you thinking about now? Are you still out there looking for Summer? Have you been looking for Summer? Is the question. Are they looking for Summer? Are they still handing out flyers? Are they still updating the media? All went quiet, which is also evidence not seen. Evidence not seen. So Sebastian's case brought me to thinking about Summer's case and looking at as much of this case as possible. And obviously, Seth's been doing his due diligence. Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, biological father, has been doing everything in his power to find his son, according from what we have seen. Let me close that. According to what we've seen. And once again, taking a look at that evidence, I mean, I don't need to say too much about it. You know, I'll let you listen for yourself. Watch this.
Sumner County teenager Sebastian Rogers was reported missing. The FBI announced a $50,000 reward. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Bogus. This announcement comes after the group rallied at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for answers. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry has more on the continued efforts to locate Sebastian.
6 months, one long nightmare.
Missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers has been missing for 6 months now. His biological father, Seth Rogers, tells me he hasn't stopped searching for his son.
There's a lot in motion behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. I'm looking for him.
At the Sumner County Sheriff's Office this morning, about 15 people with Sebastian's army gathered outside the office for answers or an update in the investigation.
Bring Sebastian home! We would like to see a PRO and just have some updates. You know, there's no PRO involved.
If I don't keep pushing for people to do their job, my son will never be found. With no communication, that's lack of trust. Lack of trust means I have to do it myself, or I have to have somebody that I trust do it.
But Seth tells me he hopes the $50,000 reward just announced by the FBI leads to more information.
Because any viable tip that comes in that leads to the recovery of Sebastian, to bring him home, it has to be verified through the law enforcement.
The reward will go to anyone with information leading to the location and return of Sebastian, or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. According to a representative with the FBI, they are working collaboratively with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office to, quote, benefit their investigations.
And whatever happened to him, to get him out of that house is pretty despicable.
The search for Sebastian progressed from ground searches with multiple agencies to being scaled back to an investigative format. TBI reported that the family was cooperative and there was no proof of anything criminal happening. Since then, prayer vigils and private searches have taken place. If you have any information on this case, you can call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND, or your local FBI office. Bob.
See? And there you have it from Seth Rogers. He's looking for him. He's looking for his son. He wants to know why he left that house. And it was just something he said there to say how he left the house in his mind. If he left that house in the way he's thinking about him leaving that house is despicable. So that begins to reveal a thought in his mind that, yeah, the story is not all on the table. There's more to this. There's more to this than the story that once came out in the beginning. There's more to this. There's a whole lot more to this now that the FBI is involved. What, in addition, did the FBI find concerning the night that Sebastian and his biological mother, Katie, what evidence did they find here at the Texas Roadhouse in February, the night that they allegedly left the Texas Roadhouse to go home? This was the last public piece of information of us knowing publicly Sebastian's whereabouts before he went missing. Who did they interview here? What information were there and are they able to have gleaned? What video recordings? How many people interacted with them when they were here having dinner? What did the waitress say? What food did they order? Was there any kind of misbehavior inside the Texas Roadhouse? Were they even able to complete having their dinner? Or did they have to leave abruptly for some strange reason? They have to glean that information. But we know that this was the last place publicly that Sebastian had been seen. But this landfill in Kentucky bothered the hell out of me. I'm going to be honest with you. This bothered the hell out of me. And then that's what brought on the thought, there is something federal about this case. Then they show up and put a reward on the table. And I said, there you go. There it is right there. There it is right there. So is the story really lining up? Is the story really lining up? Well, hopefully we will find out, since they just stepped in at the 6-month missing mark, we'll find out how fast and how thorough the FBI is. Because it's starting to lead me to believe, and hence my opinion, it's starting to lead me to believe that the FBI is not only looking at the Proudfoots, or even at Seth Rogers, the biological dad. The FBI is looking at everybody. And that includes the Sumner County Sheriff's Department. First responders that morning. Who was called on the phone, who took Chris's call to actually report that Sebastian went missing? Was the phone call recorded or not? Who was the officer who took the call? How was the call dispatched? Who was the responding officer? Who else was called from that point? And what other resources from that point were also communicated to get out there at Stafford Court? One piece at a time. So it tells me that they're looking at everybody. They're looking at everyone. And to go over all of the points that they'd have to go over concerning the house is what they're looking at as well. Now, Sebastian lived here. There's plenty of Sebastian literally all over the house. All over the house. So they're going to be looking at areas and elements of the house concerning Sebastian. What may have been cleaned versus what wasn't cleaned. What may have been altered, if there were any cameras at all inside of the house? What may have changed? What may look too neat versus not neat? What access points did Sebastian have? Whether the front door, the side door, the garage door, looking at all aspects, especially the backyard, as we saw in the video. Vehicles that Sebastian had ridden in. Vehicles. That has Sebastian's signature in them. They would have evidence of Sebastian in them. It's supposed to have evidence of Sebastian. I mean, they came home from the Texas Roadhouse. What vehicle was used to come home in? Would have evidence of Sebastian in that vehicle. You see what they're looking for? They're looking for consistency. Where it's consistent and where it's not. And whether any other vehicle was used, or whether any other vehicle may have given them access to outside of the vehicles that were already recorded in the report. So you look in places that you would think would hold some consistency. If you told us you came home from the Texas Roadhouse, we got to look in your vehicle to make sure that there's evidence of him in the vehicle going home. How thorough did the canines search the vehicle? See, but it's been 6 months now. Things could have changed. You see? They've even changed locations. Is that consistent or inconsistent? Why would you leave your home knowing your son is still missing to go someplace else that he doesn't know where you are? See, that's an inconsistency. So when you can start to piece the inconsistencies together, you come up with, no, there's a whole lot more to the story than what we've been told. Hence, you have the FBI thinking that too. I'm glad someone at the FBI saw that. Who knows? EquiSearch, even though they had a low profile in the case, who knows what they may have found to add to evidence that made the FBI show up? Made him show up. So yeah, what did they find? What did they find? Yes, EquiSearch has a huge map. They showed every place and pond, water they searched, video on it. Oh, Dixie. If you can email me that, I would love to see it. I would love to see where they searched. Because I wanted to bring Equifax into the picture because of Summer's case. And this is starting to look like I'm slowly but surely adding that to the table. But I want to lay my eyes and my mind on the proof. I want to lay my eyes and my mind on the proof. That way I can share it properly. Rosebud, gosh, John, your approach to this case is such a breath of fresh air. Thank you, Rosebud. I mean, who the hell am I to come into something, start telling you about a case, and come out here and start making all kinds of stupid noises? noises that would detract from the case, take away from finding out what happened to Sebastian. Why would I do that? It made no sense. It make no sense. Holly says, I'm a BA, so I feel I can read body language and know autistic children pretty well. I've been studying psychology for many years, and my degrees are in this area. I know when things don't make sense, and I'm with you. Now, I don't have a BA in psychology or a degree in any of those fields. I do know that I have a degree in common sense. We all have a degree in common sense. Hence, it's by degrees, plural. Or what I like to call 6 inches of separation between left and right. Left brain, right brain. Thank you, Holly, for that. Karen, who does the FBI think knows something and would come forward for the reward? Yes. Who would they know? They put it out there. They put it out there. Sebastian did not walk out that door. No, no, no. Thank you, Marcia. And Marcia says, in my opinion. Well, Dog has said he's been lied to. It looks like twice. This case so far. He's been lied to. Well, you're going to find a lot of things. I think Sebastian said it loud and clear. He reached out for help from only place he could, teachers. Thank you, Marilyn. See, those are going to be interviews conducted by the FBI where Sebastian went to school. How was he as a student? How did he interact with the class and the classmates? How did he interact with people? You got to get a profile there too. And that's critical. Show Poodle. I think everything you're stating, John Q, is spot on. In the absence of hard facts, speculation will fill the void, human nature. Yes, I agree. And it's easy because it leaves your mind to wander too much. It leaves your mind to wander too much. I can hear my father in the back of my head. Focus, John, focus, focus. One thing at a time. Do it properly and do it thoroughly. Do it properly and do it thoroughly. This way, when you put those two together, it should equal certainty. Certainty is the cause and fact of our living. We have to truly depend on certainty because that's where the truth shall always lie. It's where the truth is. That's what they prove in court to the best of their ability. We are certain that this happened. We are certain that this did not happen. And here's the evidence in support of that fact. And here we go. Word of mouth is just not going to make it. And hence, this is what we have. We have a lot of word of mouth out here. Sabrina Marshall. Holly Irish, I also work with autistic children. Leaving with strangers, no way. It had to be with someone he knew. It had to be with someone he knew. Hi, John. Took me a minute to find you. War Eagle, welcome. It took you a minute. Where were you? I can't tell you that, John. I was preoccupied, but I found you. Well, thank you. Whether by referral, word of mouth, welcome. I hope to see you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Push this out into the algorithm. I'm not on here a lot, and I don't ask for a lot. Meanwhile, I've got a number of you who support me. I mean, every time I do go live. You guys are on my phone. You show up in the little gift section to send me little things. I mean, it all tells me, yes, stay on the case, John. People appreciate, I guess, your point of view, your perspective, looking at this case and coming with it the way you do. I'm not going to get into anything else. What for, if it's not a part of it? 2 landfills. Gallatin searched, but contained construction waste. Gallatin. Kentucky landfill used for residential waste. Was Kentucky landfill ever searched? If so, I never heard that fact. Yeah. How well, if at all, any of it was searched? How long did they stay out there? Did they find anything? Did they find anything? Because shortly thereafter, things began to scale back. And I said, that's strange. It's a huge landfill out there. Why'd they stop so soon? I mean, it's enormous. It's enormous. Philip, how are you? What bothers me is that CP and KP said Sebastian would lie. Autistic kids don't know how to lie. Believe me, I have a nonverbal autistic nephew. They're totally dependent on people they trust. Thank you for making the statement, Philip. You see, it goes to Sebastian's character. And now you try to place that piece inside the narrative. And when you see it doesn't fit and you try to twist it and turn it to try to make it fit and you know it doesn't, it's an inconsistency. And I know I'm well behind in the chat, but I wanted to get some of your feedback. And this is beginning to add more to the story as we began than we were told. More to the story than what we were told. Things are not adding up, or they're not connecting properly. Why? What's being hidden that you can't tell us, or that's not being said or told? See, it makes it sound like something diabolical is going on. And for a 15-year-old autistic boy, that's the last thing you want to have attached to his name. Something diabolical happened to this poor child. Then you do some background and you find out that there's some other peripherals going on with issues at the same time. What issues? And then you find out. You begin to find out. And then people begin to get mad. Oh, you shouldn't say that. And you said it. And I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Philip says the Proudfoots and the Bowersocks are too busy running people off that are trying to search. Really? No, why would they do that? Seth is the only parent I've seen begging for help from anyone willing. Why would they do that? See, there's another point of inconsistency. Why would you do that? Why would you run people off from trying to search? Why? See, that doesn't make sense. Yogi says, does anyone know if there was oh Lord. That's a horrible piece of equipment. Just thinking about it. There was a wood chipper was on the construction site because CP said no one would find him. And I believe what the caller said about taking his clothes off. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Thank you, Yogi. I sure as hell hope to God that there was no wood chipper involved. Anna listening from Massachusetts. Much love to you, Anna. Thank you for joining me. Ooh, Lord, just the words. Just the words. Then you would think, yeah, who would do something like that if it was involved? Who would do something like that? You would have to have something evil in mind. That interview said, the interview, she said that they aren't going to find him when told there are people searching. Okay. There has to be a video inside the Texas Roadhouse. Was there anyone with Katie and Sebastian? Good question, Philip. Good question. Did anybody join them? Anybody meet with them? And it seems like that Texas Roadhouse, just people from the area, people from the neighborhood go. You would bump into people on a Sunday having Sunday night dinner, from church or, from the places that Sebastian went to school or, just familiar places, shopping malls. Show up and you see your neighbor, somebody. Good question. Succeeding is in the building. Much love to you. Have I missed much? Well, about 1 hour and 51 minutes. But good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Just going over why the FBI is involved. Because they're involved. They got money on the table in hopes that someone is going to say something. I hope so. I truly hope so. Quietly. Silently. Exactly. John, a breath of fresh air. Thank you, Yogi. Quietly, silently. Say something. Remain anonymous. Thank you, Holly. We're not here to get people in trouble. We're here to help find Sebastian. Jeno is in the building. Jen, I hope you've been doing good. Good to see you. There's been a lot of lies told. Yes, Opal, too many of them. And it's only to distract away from the case. It's easy for me to pick them up because, like I said, if you are looking for something consistent, it's a track for you to run on. When you find inconsistencies that don't fit into the narrative, they're easy to spot. You don't go, what do they say, down the rabbit hole with a theory that you can't prove. It makes what you're saying more irrelevant, and it wastes a lot of time. So good point, Opal. Sunset gazing, hell, dog, watch and listen to all of CP and KP interviews. You'll catch so many lies. They're a dime a dozen. And that's what we did on my earlier lives, comparing them to the narratives of other parents whose children went missing. In the West case, I was throwing wood. It was cold. I wanted to make a fire. How that story came out. Y'all remember that if you followed the West case? If it was cold, what were the boys doing outside in the backyard? Who would have their kids in the month of December, in winter, out in the backyard, and it was cold? Inconsistency. He came out the gate that way. If y'all remember that story. John Q, go watch Duty Ron from April 12th, and Twila explains maps. Good. Thank you, Dixie. Dixie, grab my email from the chat and send me that link. If you can do that for me, I'd appreciate that. I would like to see that. I haven't really touched base on Duty Ron's channel in quite some time, since he did summer. But yeah, I'd like to see that. That would help. Carol Smith is in the building. Much love to you, Carol. Good to see you. Hope you and your family are doing well, in good health. Much love to you. It's my other moderator, next to Miss Justice. And I did get your message, Miss Justice, earlier. Thank you for giving me that information since our last conversation about it. We'll definitely be looking forward to connecting with you there. But good to see you, Carol. This whole case is crazy. It's a crazy circus. Got my head hurting. Yeah. It can if you're on it every day. That's why you got to take breaks. I came into the live saying, hey, I'm back from a break. I'm back from my break. Got to take a break. How you doing, Jess? Good to see you. You got to take a break, because if you don't, you start to get how much new information is coming out about this case to talk about it almost, in a nonstop pace. Information overload has never been it's never been the right way to do it. Put it together, wait for another piece to come, then put it together, see if it fits, wait for another piece to come, then see if that fits, and wait for another pit. When you've got about a good 5, 7, 10 pieces of information that line up, that fit a consistent pattern of logic, go live. Go live. If you got 1.5 piece, I don't do it. and try to build something. I can't. I'd rather be doing something else. The issues are the people in his home he trusted. That's a part of it, Miss Succeeding. That's a part of it. That's how it came out the gate. That's how it came out the gate. Time goes so fast when I tune into John Q. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And to go back to, little things in this case is, locks on doors, incontinence that Sebastian may have suffered. And when that came into the picture, I said, incontinence? Wait a minute. What was giving him such high anxiety that would create a response of incontinence to happen to Sebastian? Gotta factor these little things in to see if it is part of the narrative. "17 missing hours" also showed up as part of this case. Someone was missing for 17 hours. How'd that happen? What do you mean? What's that about? What is that about? What is that about? 17 hours? I'm going to try to get down to some of your comments here. Thank you, John. You seem like a good person. We should all protect our children. Yes. And thank you for saying that. Thank you. Because my last video posting, I was sitting here going through my notes, and a song came to my head from Whitney Houston. I don't know if those who visit my page saw it, but just said, our children, the greatest gift of love, or the greatest gift of all. And I said, you know something? I'm going to post that video again, because that is a blessing in and of itself that's been given to us by God to continue our life here on this small, beautiful blue planet that we live on. It's a blessing, but yet to hear things that happen to children on this little blue planet who go missing or end up being found somewhere that they shouldn't be, no. It's like the world is falling apart and the children are somehow, in some way, shape, or form, is being used for collateral damage. And that is a sin of the first kind in my book. Because now we're taking something away from the true blessing that we have all been bestowed on being able to create. Children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty that they possess inside. I didn't make that up. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. I hope I got most of your comments. You guys are coming back at me. Whoa, brilliantly. 17 hours when P went to get his camper. Yes, Sunset. Yes. Hen house, going to get the camper. See? You guys have been following the story. Going to get the camper. 17 hours to get a camper from a trip that should take 3 hours and 46 minutes one way and 3 hours and 46 minutes another. Even if you had 8 hours to break off for sleep, you'd still have a 9-hour difference. So you put that on the table and you say, okay, there's something not ringing about that little piece of information. Took somebody 17 hours to go and get a camper and bring it back. It was only a 3 hour and 46 minute difference. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that piece of information? I'm sure that they're checking that. I hope they're checking that. That story's got to ring true. So what time did you get back? What time did you get back? Seth said he didn't have that problem at his house. And then the thoughts that Sebastian would have to actually be subjected to. Living one way with his biological dad, and then living another way with his biological mom and stepdad. That's two separate worlds that he had to adapt to. Now think about it for a moment. An autistic boy had to adapt to two separate worlds, but yet there was a third world there called Sebastian's world. There's a third world there. And Sebastian, to a very large degree, is subjected to two separate different worlds outside his world. One appears to be calm, serene, well protected, secured, provided for, and loved. That's one world. In the other world, well, we started finding out little things about that other side. Not little things, but a lot of little things. That does not give the appearance that Sebastian was doing okay. How he was able to manage certain, let's just say, stressful situations, whether he was having a good day or a bad day, or a good day, a bad day at school, or just overall a good or a bad day. Because they do come as part of human nature. What you do speaks so loud because it's behavior. What you say cannot truly be understood, especially if it's coming in scrambled. If you get my drift. That's a good question, Connie. Did he bring back the same RV or a different one? Did he bring back the same one or a different one? That's a good one. See, there you go. That's why I love my audience. See, because the one I got is this one. The Big Montana. That's the one that's hooked up to the 4x4. You know, the vehicle that he couldn't remember the year on when Nancy Grace had asked him, "What year's your vehicle?" Was this the RV that he brought back? Was this the RV he had to go and get? It took him 17 hours to get. Does it look like it? Is it? You would figure Sebastian, if going on the road and traveling with mom and stepdad, would go to different places from time to time, would take the RV and Sebastian with him. So there would be evidence of Sebastian inside of this RV. You would think so. How consistent is that? See, you put that together on the table along with the rest of it. Along with the rest of it. Succeeding says the songs with I Believe the Children Are Our Future, teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty that they possess inside. So true. Whitney remade the song. I liked her version better. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why I put that video back up on my channel. From a live concert. Because it brings me through, as I listen to the words and the song, it brings me back through the casework that I've done here on my channel, on every single case that I've covered. All the time that I've spent researching, looking at pictures, reading court documents, going over geographic land maps, putting the narratives together, help give me clarity on what the story is really about. Hello, everyone. Just subbed. Just Debbie, much love to you. Thank you for subbing. It helps. It helps. Interesting, Marcia. I've always wondered where Chris emptied out his holding tank. You never want to pull a trailer with it full of too much waste. Yeah. You see, it brings to light additional evidence. But there's a 17-hour window. There's a pocket of time that's not been accounted for. Especially when you have to deal with 3 hours and 46 minutes one way and then back the other way. And that doesn't equal 17 hours. It doesn't. Need to go back and listen to dispatch calls. It speaks volume. See, because that's where the story starts. Thank you, Miss Justice, for dropping the link. And you listen to that song, and it puts everything in perspective. And then you come back, and then you take a look at cases like this, and it says, how in the hell, how in the world does this happen to our future? How does someone go about taking their own future away from themselves? You would ask. You would think about it. How would you do that? Why would you do that? But yeah, the dispatch calls. It's the beginning of the story. What was said in the beginning? How was law enforcement summoned? I said, well, what happened in the 911 call? Why didn't they call 911? Emergency. Yeah, emergency. My kid's missing. Emergency. It's gone from the house. I can't find him. How does that happen? It's a beautiful neighborhood. Nobody else's kid went missing. All that time, you don't hear. We never heard any child go missing from this area of the world, this beautiful neighborhood. Well-to-do people living next door to each other. Little pieces of parcel lands built around them. Lovely. I mean, when I first located this on the map, I said, wow, this is gorgeous. And it looked like the right place for Sebastian to be in. Good environment, clean streets, clean neighborhood. Everybody knows each other. You get on the school bus, they go to school together, they come back after school, boom. And then you come back to a neighborhood like this. Perfect environment. You would think in your mind, the American dream for a child like Sebastian to be living and growing up as a kid. Now, I grew up in Brooklyn, East New York, Brooklyn, Brownsville, they called it. That's why I'm brown. And it's a beautiful brown. It is. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. But yeah, Brownsville, East New York, Brooklyn. I take a look back at it now. I don't live there anymore, thank goodness. I take a look back at it now and say, wait a minute, this is where I grew up? It's totally a different place. The schools I went to, they're still there. The stores I went to have changed dramatically. And the neighborhood, the people, oh my God, it looks like a third world country. I live in upstate New York now. I said, no, I can't handle all that noise, all that mess, all that stuff. Well, you know, every time you turn on TV, the news dominates the TV. People would have to buy cable in order to watch something else. But yeah, for a kid to grow up in a neighborhood like this, why would he go missing from inside the house? Why would he go missing from inside the house? Why was it that night and no other night? It wasn't something about school, was it? Even though school was the next day. No. You ask yourself over and over and over again. You go back down the timeline. 9 o'clock, told to go to bed. He took out the trash because that was a chore. Okay, so did he come back after taking the trash out? You didn't realize whether he was in the house or not. No, because then what you said to the news wouldn't have made sense if you told him to go to bed. Okay, so he did come back. Okay. But now he's in the house, and then you tell him to go to bed. He says goodnight to the puppies. He says goodnight to you, and then off to bed he went. You get on the phone. You're reading a book. Hmm. 10 o'clock, you hear something that you don't get up and check, being that it was a thump or an odd sound. You never checked on him since you told him to go to bed. You wake up the next morning and he's not in his room. What happened? How do you know if he walked out the front door if you didn't hear him leave? or the door close, or the dogs, the little puppy dogs that they have barking. They respond to every sound in the house, but yet that little piece of information is missing. Dogs will sense who's coming in and who's going out. They can sense attitude. They can sense environment. But nothing about the dogs was ever said about them being rattled about something at a specific time for any given reason. I found that odd. Don said that the dogs weren't even there at 110 Ben Hill Road that day. And I said, how the hell would he know that if he was at work? All those stray dogs that were up there at Ben Hill Road. Are they still there today? Does anybody know? I'm surprised they didn't really give us an excuse as to where they went. But that doesn't make sense. So there was no rattling of the dogs to even sense that Sebastian had left. And she didn't hear anything afterwards until she got up to go to his room to wake him up to go to school. But he's not there. How do you know he left? Out that door. How do we know if anybody came to visit that night before he went to bed? How do we know when they got home from the Texas Roadhouse that someone was already there at the house or not? There's just some of the questions, and I said, the FBI has got to be thinking about this. Maybe they didn't have enough information to get answers to those very questions I just got finished posing. How do we know that when they got back from the Texas Roadhouse, there was nobody in the house? And who's the person that verified whether the stepdad was actually at work or not? Where did that verification come from? Not pointing any fingers, just asking a question. Just basic, folks. It's just basic point of view to look, because that's what any natural parent who's missing a child would ask over and over and over and over and until they get an answer. But it doesn't appear like any of that's out there. Now you want to get off social media. We're going to try to find a way to distract social media now. Now we get into it with Dog, the bounty hunter. We get into it with another content creator. We're going to get some bashing on my channel. I mean, they do it. I'm not bothered by it because it's not a part of the case. But they spend all their time doing it. Obviously, there's a benefit. There's a benefit. You stick around long enough, you know where the benefit comes in. But if you learn something, you really learn something about this case, or this was just a conversation again. I mean, point blank. Point blank. So now we have this reward money. We've got the FBI looking at things. I hope that they are looking at some of the things that I pointed out during the series of questions that I've posted here tonight on this live regarding where Sebastian is. Because you can only ask those questions because they're relevant to ask. And without getting answers to them, this kid's still missing. And the father's still looking. He had to bring on a private investigator. He had several private investigators. Got social media bashing them too. It's like, okay, it's too much. There's too much noise around this case. And I said, I hope this doesn't get worse, just like it did for Summer Wells, because that case was, it was obliterated on social media. The West case was obliterated on social media. Kenneka Jenkins case was obliterated on social media. And a number of other cases. Cash Gernon's case. Little boy who was taken out of his crib, who was laying next to his brother, was taken out of the house and it was caught on a baby cam. I did that live too. Covered a small live video series on that. I mean, incredible. Kids going missing from inside the house. Our ways in America had changed. We could see this every single day. If it's not a presidential debate, it's wars across the world that our country is supporting and we didn't even give consent to, all the way to the immigration problem, all the way. I mean, I can go on and on and on, and our country is changing, and it's not looking any better at all. For these kinds of stories to keep showing up over and over and over and over, there's something not right here. And people are looking for these children. People are still looking for children who went missing. And then it goes all the way up. Now it's escalated to a federal point of view, which is the point of tonight's live. I wanted to make sure that my audience that follows me sees some of the logic that John Q has about this case. It's what I wanted to share. But in my mind, this has escalated to where it's at right now. There are certain things about this case that's federal. Question, why? What areas of this case has made this federal? Was it the Kentucky landfill? Is it any of the other titles where federal people would have to come in, especially when it is a missing child? And we've heard about those other titles because those other titles showed up in the Summer Wells case. There's no foul play. There's no trafficking. There seems to be no this, no that, no this, no that, no this, no that. Okay, so since you told us what it's not, tell us what it is. And they still can't tell you. It still can't tell you. And then time goes by. This is what really hurts the case. So much time goes by and no word, no word, no word, no word, no word. The last thing on your mind is that, oh Lord, I hope they don't come back and plaster the news with remains were found in this location. Police have now narrowed this off, taped the area off. You know, we hear about that all the time too. And that's one thing we're tired of hearing. Stop finding remains and find the living person. If you don't have the resources, make sure you guys collaborate and partner up with resources. Because every time they hold a press conference, oh, we partnered up with this resource and that resource, and our partners here and our partners there and our partners everywhere, you know, but nothing ever gets done with so many different partners. They don't want to overlap each other. I get it, but coordinate it to where you don't have to do that. That's the hard part, because when you get a lot of egos all in one room, Somebody wants to take the full credit. It's hard to spread out credit over 21 different agencies equally. And then they never tell you which agency was the actual agency that hit the nail on the head and got the result that they were all working for. They have to all get the credit. See, they have to all go back under the umbrella as egos. And I hope that they don't have this issue in this case. But now you have the FBI, which is the top cop of the country, that's going to take care, maybe, we got to see, maybe take care of all the egos that maybe got shuffled around here a little bit, whether it came from the search teams or the K9 or the Cajun search team or TBI or Sumner County Sheriff's Office or some of the local law enforcements in and around that area. We don't want to have too many people doing this. Somebody's got to take the lead. Well, the FBI has. Good. Now we say produce results and give us an update from your mouth. Stop showing anybody with this, call TBI, call TBI, call TBI fine, call TBI fine. Don't give us an update. Once a month. Are you still looking? Yes, we're still looking for Sebastian Rogers, 15-year-old young boy who has autism, who went missing February 26th of this year. Oh, at least they're still looking. That's good. People are still doing their job. That's all we want to hear. Don't go dead silent and have people speculating all over the place, enough to make so much noise that they disappear and don't follow the case anymore. And then we have another missing child that's year after year after year after year. Nothing about. So where did they go? Where did they go? Hey, the real Rockin' Robin is in the building. Much love to you. No foul play, question mark. A whole child vanished. No foul play, I hear you. I hear you, Robin. You can't get there. That's the math that doesn't add up. That's the math that doesn't add up. Mississippi is a part of this. What are they doing in Mississippi? What are they doing in Mississippi? What are they doing in Kentucky? Where else could this have spanned to? I'm praying they don't find him deceased. I worry every day about that. Yeah. But without an update, without any progress, it's just something that's going to stay on the table. Something that's going to stay on the table until a conclusion has been reached or until new evidence is revealed. Now you actually hear the evidence of the FBI conceding that this perhaps may be foul play here. I said, whoa, okay, hence the reward. This is not just the, hey, he walked out the door story anymore. Somebody knows something because somebody did something that they weren't supposed to do. And it involves Sebastian. And whether it had been that 3 a.m. in the morning with that night cam that showed those little funny lights in the background, whether that had anything to do with it, that night, early morning, that Sumner County Sheriff's Office just brushed off, No evidentiary evidence of value. Now, you really looked at that? Are you equipped to really make that statement? Is anybody really clear from this case? Answer is no. Nobody's cleared. It'll remain that way until they find Sebastian. Period. Period. Know that to be a fact. Everybody's on the table. Even though they don't even mention the word suspect, person of interest, nothing. They're still on the table because these are people that have surrounded Sebastian's life. They have to be kept close. TBI are a bunch of idiots, in my opinion. Okay, Kimmy. I'm disappointed, especially for the Summer Wells case regarding TBI. Are they giving any updates on Summer since they were the lead investigators on that case? Any updates from them? Why not? She's still missing. I've heard none. I feel where you're coming from, Kimmy. I feel that. Miss Linda, did you hear about the sour socks? Sour socks? Treated Nina. She was their daughter-in-law at the time. Glad I'm not related, if that's how you're treated, in my opinion. Sour socks? Okay, it's a different title. I know who you're referring to, though. I know who you're referring to. We don't care about who gets credit. It's about finding this child. Find them. Yes, Robin. That's what it's about. Fontuski. We don't know if KP was driving around and unjamming security systems. See, I don't have any evidence of security systems being jammed. That's why I never really get into that area or bring it up. Because the head law enforcement agency has not brought that to our attention to make it relevant. Even though, you make that's your opinion, you make a great statement there. We don't know if that was used in this case or not. It has not been confirmed on whether there was any kind of security jamming or device jamming component being used around the neighborhood, because they used that under the cloak of darkness to jam up all the cameras so they wouldn't be seen. But I appreciate you bringing that up. If it's true, it'll show up. Then we know that there had been some kind of forethought involved in the case. That indicates forethought, intent, basic intent. Oh, your comments are great. I love it. I love it. I love it. Much love to you, Robin. Stem Convo is in the building. Seth is sketchy as well. Well, from what he's doing physically, what he's doing, which is looking for his son, sometimes as an emotional parent, you can't explain everything correctly. Sometimes. You got a lot of things going on in your head. Sometimes words don't come out right. You know, but as I said before, everybody's still on the table. No one has been cleared unless law enforcement says, yes, they are cleared. But they won't tell us. So since it's not there yet, guess what? No one's cleared, whether they tell us or not. But I feel where you're coming from. Even that was mentioned too. Texas lady, Alaska possibly. See, nothing goes in that direction. Nothing goes in that direction for me. But if it shows up, guess what we know? You have 2 states and different counties, different countries to have to communicate with each other. New Mexico should have requested and received all pertinent information regarding Sebastian with CPS's investigation. That's interesting. You bring up New Mexico, Funsky. It's interesting because is that a part of this case in some way, shape, or form? That's very interesting. Marcia says trash, cement, mattress, snakes, ninjas, car cameras never will be found. The case will be studied for years to come. And Chris says, poof, he disappeared. In my opinion, no 911 camp. Disappeared. This is my thing. No, I hear you, Stem. I hear you. Would a 15-year-old stay hidden this long and not be online? It's ludicrous. Good point. They would live online. They would live online. But even for a 15-year-old who walked out of the house, wouldn't take their phone. See, that's ludicrous too. Good point. This is interesting. Is it possible they already found him and the reward is just to pull evidence on the parents? Joni brings a good point. Is it possible? Is it possible? Linda says anything is possible. Anything is possible. Stim says good point, Joni. Anything is possible. Philip says the Natchez Trace Parkway is federal land. And it goes through 3 states, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. 3 states. Very close to each other. They're like door to door. My heart breaks so much for all these missing babies, and they are babies to me always. I pray this doesn't become over 3 years like Summer. Not a word on Summer. Yeah, I was just talking about that. Because this case will always remind me of Summer's case, the West Boys case. They just don't vanish without cause, without reason. It's not in the element. Y'all still with the socks and the feet and all this other stuff. Oh my goodness, but I get it. I get it. John, could be why FBI is involved. Yeah, when you start to take a look at it, and that's what I was doing. I was taking a look at all the elements that would make up the presence of the FBI being involved now. And there are some factors that definitely state why they're here. And they didn't come empty-handed. They put something on the table called a reward. I heard it was increased, but I'm still looking for solid confirmation as to where all this other extra money, if it's there, if someone donated or contributed, or there's a fund of some kind, I'm still looking for solid information on that. That it is 100,000 now, so to speak. But hey, as long as the FBI's got the 50 on there, that's enough for me to say, yeah, it's important to them. Now they got Dog the Bounty Hunter on this case. Well, we can see it's important to him. There's a bounty on the table. Hence the reason for his presence. I hope he makes headway. I really do. Because he can do it quietly. All the other stuff pertaining to what came out before, you know, about at-night agency and all this, we're going to get the truth from you, and here's how we're going to do it, and we're going to use this and that and this. I said, no, I'm not buying that. Because it goes against the law. I read that, I was chuckling. I said, there we go, more distractions. We know damn well that there be no so who is this agency, this at-night agency that's going to be doing all of this, coming to the table? Using serums and potions and lions and tigers and bears and all this other stuff. Where these people come from? I said, no, that's more noise. Forget it. Nina and CP's daughter, FGP, lives in New Mexico, literally near or on the reservation. Okay. Why is it none of our business? Question mark. Is it our business as we have Amber Alerts, contact TBI, FBI, law enforcement information? And imagine if this has happened to any one of us. Just saying, I would want my baby found. That's right, Robin. That's right. You would want it quickly. You would want it quickly. Katie holds the keys. I certainly believe that, Marcia. Like Candace holds the key to Summer. I've always believed that. Your child doesn't go missing outside of your presence. You know where they're at, especially of that age, 5 years old. Now you have one 15 with a special need. You mean to tell me you don't know what happened? No. You sure you wrote down everything? You sure you wrote down everything? Let's come back from the roadhouse and let's go over that part again. What time did you leave? How long did it take you to get back home? Did anyone to verify that at all? What time did Sebastian take out the garbage? What time did you get on the phone? What time did you start reading your book? What time did you begin your study? How much of time did you study? Where was Sebastian then? What was he doing in his room? If he was there at all. Was he playing in his room? If so, what was he playing with? His phone? His Switch? Was he making any sounds? Was he talking to anyone? Did you have company? Was there anyone at home when you got there? What time did you go to bed again? A little before 12? Was Sebastian in his room at that time? Was his light on or off? Did he turn it on or off? Did you turn it off? Did he ever get up to go to the bathroom? Fine tune it. Just fine tune it. All that's a void. All that is voided out of the narrative. What happened to Summer? A lot of details were left out of that. Went down to the basement after calling her out, didn't hear back from her, and she was just gone. I didn't like the way she just said that either. She was just gone. Walk us back through your afternoon again, Candace. Let's see if we get all of what happened right. What time did you get home? The same process. And you keep going back over it and back over it and back over it and back over it. The FBI actually came back to talk to Don and Candace, but is that all you did? You sure you're not missing anything? Why don't you take your time? We'll give you some ample time and pretty much go back over your day, because it doesn't appear to us we have everything. We've got too much time open here. It's the same thing here too. There's a lot of time spots open here. And I think this is where the FBI may be fine-tuning a lot of the time element to tighten up the timeline. That's exactly what I would be doing. Sumner County Sheriff's Office took the report. Now the FBI has got to go over the report and then find out what Sumner County Sheriff's Office did do versus what they didn't do. And you would figure too, going the extra mile, the FBI taking a look at anybody in Sumner County Sheriff's Department might be doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. It could be something that they're not supposed to be doing. Dog doesn't play. He will find information that others cannot. Yeah, I mean, that's what he knows. He has his connections. That's what he does. That's what he does. Day late and $1 short. And 6 months, yeah, 6 months later, checking landfills is a part of the required protocol of missing and exploited children. That's where you go. But did they really do a thorough job though? That's just me. Did they do a thorough job? Or did they have to go back there after it was made public that they went there? Got to tell us something. And the step-grandparents left in an RV bound for Alaska just days after. Just an opinion. Just an option, excuse me. That plays a part of it. They're going to check that out. Why'd you leave? What'd you go to Alaska for when you got a family member that went missing? Why would you go to Alaska? Now the question. It's another question. And I wanted to come on tonight and share some of those questions with you. This is where I am with this case right now. I'm glad the FBI is involved. They put something on the table, and they want people to come forward. Now is the time. Now is the opportunity to come forward. Any relevant information regarding the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, come forward. Put it on the table and let's get it checked. Because there is more to the story. If they didn't think so, they wouldn't have showed up. I don't know, Marcia. Is dog physically in Hendersonville questioning neighbors? I don't know. Dog's in stealth mode right now. But when he pops up, we'll know about it, that's for sure. That's one thing about him. He finds something and he's onto something, boom, there goes the media. And then everybody explodes on social media. Everybody begins to explode on social media. Showing you the videos and what happened and oh my goodness. John Q, I've always wanted to ask why and where do they have to go to pick up the niece? That morning, on the morning, but they went out to go shopping and have a fun day. I want to know where. Yeah. Another detail. So they got to go back and question that too. They got to go back and question that too. Katie and Chris both hold all the answers. Not one search. Chris had bite marks on both his eyes. I was talking about that on my other live too, Diana. And recently said that they would never find Sebastian. Ellie knows something. Both knows where he is. And you would think that. You would definitely think that. Just to say, okay, well, get to it. Get to it. Holly R. I think from day one, Ellie screwed up. This should rule out foul play first. I don't think they did, my opinion. No, because they were on another story. You know, he walked out of the house. They couldn't assume that anything bad happened to Sebastian if the parents are telling me he walked out the house. We don't know where he is. That's what they went. That's where they went. What they had to go off of. But yeah, I mean, they should tighten it up. They should have tightened it up quickly. Quickly. For anyone having information, yeah, please come. Go. It's been over 6 months now. How many other states have this kind of incompetence? And it's just people. This is human nature at work, folks. And you know the old maxim, you know, no one's perfect. It's what they can fall back on. Oh, well, nobody's perfect. You know, you got to throw something else behind something else that is irrelevant. Nobody's perfect. If you got the right people and you stay on the right course and you don't give up, you will find what you're looking for. Give it your attention and you'll find it. Anything you give your attention to develops into information. That information either can be used or discarded. Yes, I can use it. This is what I can do for it. Now we go to the application of knowledge. No, I can't use it. It won't benefit me in any way, shape, or form. You discard it. But yeah, they should have had, they should have ran steam down this case in the early stages. Big time. Using the Summer Wells case as a model of mistakes, of mishaps, shortcomings, things overlooked, things not done, things of that nature. Yeah, we want to make sure we cover all the bases because we don't want to have this story end up like Summer Wells' story, and she's still missing after 3 years. You get it? Law enforcement being on the same page across the country. Across the country. But that's what I wanted to come on here tonight to share with you. Just some of my thoughts about where this case is now that the FBI is involved. What I think they're doing, I hope they're doing. And hopefully we begin to see a turnaround here. Begin to see something pop. Now you got Dog the Bounty Hunter in there too. Damn. Something's got to pop. I hope, I truly hope, before the end of the month is out. We don't want to add another month to it. And we're coming close to that date. Coming close to it. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. You're still hanging around with John Q. I appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed and you like what you heard here tonight, no drama, no noise, because we don't do it. And it's comfortable for you to check in with me when I do go live, please hit the subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up. I hope I didn't waste your time here tonight. That's what I truly hope. Because no one would like to go 3 hours in a live and say, oh man, that guy was full of you know what. You don't know what he's doing. More or less knows what the hell he's talking about. That's why I'm not on here every day. I have to gather first. If you're in the garden, you got to plant and work. You got to work. I'm in the garden and I'm working the soil, planting seeds. I'm not turning around and saying, did anything grow yet? Oh, I got to go live. No, you got to give it time. All good things take time. All good things take time. And those that, miss me and shout me out, hey, we miss you, where you been, and everything else like that. I appreciate that. But I'm on the case. I'm still here. I'm still covering it. I still got Summer on my table. I still got the West Boys case on my table. I still have Cash Gernon's case on my table. I've got Daniel Robinson's case on my table. They're still here. And I go through my notes and go through each file to see if there's any new developments. I'll check in with Daniel Robinson's father because I got his phone number. I can call him. No new developments? Guess what? Okay, let me move on to the next one because I'm not going to get on here and do a 2-hour live with nothing. That don't make no sense. It's not worth my time anyway to do that. I'm not monetized. As I said, going on 6 years now, hey, I'm not looking to monetize my channel. I don't want commercials popping up on a 2-3 hour live and stuff like that. People get sick of that stuff. If it's on your phone, the commercials that interrupt, they're subjecting us to this garbage now. Then you got to hit skip in order to go back to the live. I've been to a number of people's lives where commercials pop up and I got to skip them out. Meanwhile, I missed about 5 or 10 seconds of information. This is getting crazy. And then the censorship that goes on behind it, you've got to be so careful of what you say. what you show. Freedom of speech. First Amendment rights are being stripped little by little. Can't speak your mind anymore on social media platforms anyway. We've seen evidence of that for the last 3.5 years. No, you can't say that. No, you can't show that. No, you can't do that. Boop, there's a strike. Do it again. Boop, there's another strike. Do it again. Boop, Ned, there goes your whole channel. Now you're done. Now you got to come up with a new channel name and you got to start all over again. John Q doesn't have a backup channel. This is my only channel. I don't have to worry about censorship. I don't have to worry about that stuff. It tells me that I'm on the right track. I don't have weird emails from YouTube saying, maybe some music I've done in the past. I've had that, but nothing hard. I said, well, okay, I'll edit it. I'll take it out. I'll put it private, whatever, you know. I'm good over here. So, wow. But yeah, I have fun just spending my time with you. I always do anytime I go live. Thank you, John. Yes, I really like you and Scott H. working together for Summer's case. Yeah, I enjoyed working with Scott and what was her name? True Commentary, True Crimes Commentary. Then she changed her name and yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the marathon. I enjoyed a lot of covering the Summer Wells case. Even though there was drama and noise and chaos and all kind of nonsense going on social media, I covered the case anyway. I'm not here for that. And that's one thing you will find about me. I don't come on here for that ever, ever. It's about the case, nothing else. Now, if I come on here personally and do something else, you know, whether you like listening to music, I'll try to play some music. If YouTube doesn't want to punch me around, and I get the music from YouTube because it's on YouTube. Check that out. We're going to send you a notification about music you're playing on your channel. Even though it's coming from YouTube, it is copyrighted. Okay. But it's on other people's channel. It's not from the originator of the song or the music or anything else like that. Why you hit me? Other people got it. Crazy. But that's the stuff we got to deal with. That is the stuff we got to deal with. Yeah, that was music night. Yeah, you remember that, Carol. That was music night. Great live tonight, John. Thank you. Well, sweet Melissa, thank you for dropping by. Thank you for hanging out with me this long. You know me, if I go live, I'll spend some time with you. I try not to go well beyond a ridiculous point, but I'll spend some time with you because you know I'm not going to be on here tomorrow night or maybe even the next night, or that, not unless something breaks. Other than that, I can only bring you back what you know I've taken my time to thoroughly check out and bring back to you and share with you. That's what I'll do. That's what I've done. That's what I do. And that's what I'll always do. So with that said, much love to all of you. I hope to see you guys back here for the next live. Hopefully you're subscribed and you like what we covered. Get this into the algorithm. And before you know it, we'll be back. Take care. Much love to everyone. Be well and stay blessed with God's speed. I'll check y'all out later.